My name is John and I'm at Paint School on Instagram. I've done over $15 million in paint jobs and I'm based out of Huntington Beach, California. Aaron is at Alpha Painting on Instagram. He's managed huge commercial projects with impossible timelines and now is a few years into building his own operation out of Branson, Missouri.
And you should probably check out our full process videos on YouTube because they're pretty badass.
Our point in doing this podcast is to put our 40 plus years of combined experience to the test. We've seen a decline in the industry, and while I think it's a bit arrogant to think we can change it, we're giving it a shot. Listen up and let us know what you think. This is Paint Sniffers Podcast.
This week. All right, we're back on. I think this is episode 21.
Yep.
It's hot here. It's hotter there. We've got humidity creeping in over here. We're at like 68%, which is really abnormal for here. Usually it's pretty dry. Your humidity is a little higher.
Yeah, it was fucking humid today. It was like 86%.
What's the temperature?
When I got in my truck, it said it was 103, but the weather forecast, and that's when driving, not just like this truck baking in the sun, but the truck was reading 103. Yeah. I think the forecast said like 96 or 98 or something, so we're finally backing out of the hundreds, I think, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. You were having trouble getting the tape stick to the wall today?
Yeah, I'm doing an exterior. I'm trying to close it out this week. And then on our other job, we have a lift rental coming next week, so I gotta hurry the fuck up and get this job done. But so we pre-painted like went through and caulked like the color breaks on this EFIS, pre-painted like the accent color, and then bagged it off to paint the body up to it. And I had intentions to cut. This is like the one instance that I will clear caulk over my tape to seal it to create a color break, but I'm actually having to fucking do it to hold the fucking tape on there,
Yeah.
Because nothing wants to stick today. And that's
is this that big 5-story job?
No, this is another exterior. I've got a lift scheduled to rent on the 8th, and then I'm waiting on pump jacks to be fucking delivered that we're buying. So we've pulled off of that job for like the last couple weeks or so.
Mm-hmm. The job that you're on now, how big is it? Like, what's the dollar amount on it?
The contractual pricing. It's like it's small. It's like a $13,000 or $14,000 project. Small. Like a week and a half, 2-week job.
Yeah. That's pretty good. I was just thinking, you're doing like larger than average size jobs. Well, larger than our average size. My average size is like 5,800. I might be at like 6,200 now, but around $6,000, let's say. That's my average size job. If you had to do only $6,000 jobs, you'd have to have a lot more on your schedule to stay booked.
Yeah, I'd have to, and which we, like on average, I think I'm staying about 6 months out at all times. Mm-hmm. But,
that would be like 35 jobs.
The little stuff, I'd have to have a bunch out in front of me. So like if you're talking like little 3-4 day projects, we'd have to. That'd be hard to book all that shit in advance. So you almost would want to be doing what you're doing and have people that are capable of just doing it as the shit comes,
Yeah, those are big differences. I bet for other companies out there too. So like we do some larger jobs. Next week we've got like a 4-unit or a 4-building, like a little small apartment complex. It's like $40,000. And when we tag those together, I'm able to keep guys busy for a little bit longer. It's a little easier to manage because I don't have 6 different jobs in 1 week.
Yeah.
But we don't do as many of them. We're mostly residential. We're mostly, like a normal exterior here, like a smaller one, I guess, would be, I don't know, 7 or 8 grand. We've got a little interior job we're doing this week is 8,500. What else are we doing? We're doing a church this week, interior. That one's like 12 grand.
My small like residential projects, like interior repaints, on average, I don't get below $10,000 to $12,000.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And then our exteriors are, dude, it fucking varies. I want to say like our exteriors would probably average like 17,000.
I wonder why it's such a difference.
What do you mean, like?
Well, like for me, an exterior, let's say like a 2,000 square foot house. Well, we've got an exterior going on right now. It's probably, I don't know, 2,500 square feet, 2-story. Not very difficult, not much prep. And I want to say it's like 8 or 9 grand.
Yeah.
But why do you think your average prices are so much higher than mine? Like your per project price?
Probably because the amount of work we're doing. Like a lot of shit is like complete, like recock, oil prime, multiple coats of finish. You know what I mean? Bagging off for color breaks and blah blah blah. So we're dumping like a shit ton of work into it.
Yeah.
So I'm estimating like, to compensate myself for labor. It's all like, I don't have a footage pricing on exteriors. It's just all labor projections. I mean, fuck, dude. Like my last few jobs, I've probably averaged like 45,000.
Yeah. So that's an easier way to stay busy longer, like to stay booked out, is to have bigger projects like that. Like for commercial companies, it's quite a bit easier for them to manage a schedule. Like if we do a project that takes a month and I'm going to have 10 guys on it, that job is like a no brainer for me. I don't have to like go check in on it. I maybe can look at it once a week or just make a phone call once a week. But it's basically the same project day in, day out. I know the project already because I've seen it a couple times, and my guys know exactly what needs to be done. I know which order it needs to be done in. So it's very low management. But the way that we do most projects is I have like 6 or 8 projects in a week, brand new this week. We finish them Thursday or Friday, 6 or 8 brand new ones on Monday. It's like fucking constantly changing up, and it's a lot of them. If it were like 1 or 2 a week, it would be a different story. But the amount that we're doing. So for commercial work, it's way easier on the management side, but getting the jobs, floating the cash, because those commercial projects, a lot of them, the commercial only companies are usually like fucking big old accounts receivable numbers, where they're not being paid for shit. You have so much risk of a commercial company like filing for bankruptcy when they're done. If it's like a commercial builder, there's way more risk involved.
Yeah. And the guys that I used to work for, obviously they'd have to have fucking money in the bank and,
Yeah, a lot.
like shit, you're probably, you're floating payroll in a sense, like similar to how some of the companies I worked for would have to float payroll, 20, 30
Not,
guys.
yeah, not much for me though. I mean, it's a big dollar amount, but we get paid fast.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm
But
not,
yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
big
So
amount.
you have to have, like, if you did commercial, I guess the trade off would be you have to be prepared to not get paid for 60 days.
Right.
And then once you hit, the end of a job, you could be fucking tied up waiting to get your last 10% for 6 months,
Yes. Yeah.
and
And that's all your profit.
playing that fucking kind of game. Yeah. So yeah, you got to have money in the bank, and you got to have guys in the field that are effective and that are fucking just knuckle busters out there making it up on the next one until the boss is able to get his fucking money from the last 2 or 3 jobs.
Yeah. So for me, if I had to float payroll for 2 months without getting paid, it'd be like $130,000. I'd have to
Yeah.
have just in the bank, just to cover payroll, not even materials or anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's expensive to do it that way. And then I think I'm not sure anymore. They used to be lower profit margin for those types of projects, for big commercial projects, but I'm not sure if it is anymore. I guess it probably still depends on what part of the country you're
Dude,
in.
I think like in my area, I personally think the fucking pricing models are getting worse.
Yeah.
I just heard, and it's fucking rumor or whatever, but this drywall company, one of the main painting companies in this town that used to do like a lot of the light commercial, when the two main companies that I worked for like shut down, I started working an hour north of me, and then this was like the main, then there was a new two main companies that fucking kind of did the shitty like spec homes and light commercial like condos and apartments and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And this dude died of brain cancer. Um, but the this drywaller just bought his old company, from what I heard, and and I don't know if this is off the floor or off the fucking wall. To me, it would have to be off the floor. Off the floor. That's how everyone bids out here. But this dude supposedly is hanging, taping, finishing sheetrock, plus fucking priming, painting, walls, ceilings, trim for $3.50 a square foot.
Oh shit.
And it's get something weird has got to be going on, because my brother's dad was bitching about it, and nobody can underbid that dude. Well, I guess he
I mean,
found.
I don't even understand how. So on a 2,500 square foot house, that's $8,750.
Yeah,
Like, how do you even do drywall for that
I don't
price?
know. I don't know if I have no
That's
fucking idea.
crazy.
That's just what I heard.
I mean, it
But
could be contractors supplying materials,
I
and they're
was,
just
yeah, I was fucking. I went and met with a general contractor. He wanted me to bail him out because his painter hadn't showed up, and wanted me to take over their pricing model. And it was, what the fuck was it, dude? It was like $2.20 a square foot. And I'm
mhm.
like, nah, man, hell fucking no.
Yeah,
But you know, I'm just not gonna fight that shit, dude.
yeah.
Um, I know there's guys out there fucking doing shit like production for between $1.75 and $2.20 a square foot.
It's wild.
Um, and I get very competitive pricing, dude. I mean, even if you dig into some of these guys' pricing models, they're not going to be, that much cheaper than somebody like me. And there's always a potential that I get material cheaper than them as well.
Yeah,
So I put in a lot of work to that shit, but and I get just from when I started out, I had a big job account opened up for some light commercial production, and I was getting a crazy competitive price on some shitty paint. So
hmm
um yeah, dude, I shit's weird, man. Did it?
yeah. I think that whole side of the industry is gonna probably keep going for a little while with super low prices coming in. Um, I don't think things are gonna crash enough to just wipe everyone out, but I think it'll get rid of those kind of guys, in the short term. But I don't know. I don't know if things are gonna get very bad or not economically, financially.
uh yeah, I don't know. And then maybe fucking China fucking drops bombs on Taiwan, and then
That's
we're
yeah,
in World War III, and then
yeah.
fucking none of this paint shit will matter.
We're gonna get drafted.
I wish I could get fucking drafted, but yeah, I don't think I
You're
could
too
at my
old
age.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny that we're too old to get drafted. I'll fuck some people up. Oh man. All right. Yeah, we only have like 3 or 4. We have 4 projects going on this week, which is pretty light. One is carryover from last week. Oh, so we've got this project that we're doing next week for building like apartment complex, and it's like a $40,000 job. And I sent the guy an invoice last week for a deposit. I usually don't collect deposit payments, but on something like this, I wanted them to have some skin in the game, you know. So I sent him over a payment schedule. I think I'm doing like 10 grand deposit and then 5 grand after week 1, balance after completion, which it's probably just going to take us a week, but maybe a little over. And he didn't pay it last week. I sent him a reminder yesterday, which is Monday, didn't pay it. And then today I sent him a reminder this morning, and then I called him. And I was like, hey, man, you got to hop online and take care of that payment today. We've got your project starting on Monday. And he's like, oh, yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that. We've got the carpenter. He's going to replace some of the fascia, but I don't think he's going to be able to start till next week. Do you guys want to move the job back? Would that be better? And I'm like, no, dude, I have like 10 guys scheduled for your project next week. Like I blocked out that time for your project. And he's like, oh, okay. Will that work? And I'm like, went into how it will work, and, we can work with the guy there. No problem, blah, blah, blah. But it's interesting how some people like that, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that get pushed around with dates, but
Yeah.
for certain, like my schedule is tight, like my schedule, we don't ever miss a start date. We don't miss deadlines. It doesn't matter if I'm doing a job this week that gets carried over into next week. I have to figure out how we're going to do it. We have enough manpower to where, I could have one guy go out there and start it on Monday, power washing all day by himself, and then have a couple other guys finishing a project from this week. But I don't ever miss start dates. And I give exact start dates. I know a lot of people don't do that.
I used to be like that in commercial for other people. Like,
Mm-hmm.
My last boss, like there was like a 2-week period or a 3-week period where shit slowed down. One time I was like, dude, don't fucking ever do that again. And I was just like, just put the shit on the books and let me know when it starts, when it finishes, and I will fucking figure it out. And we never missed our marks, but that's impressive for but that's like, people had to suffer for that, you know what I mean? I had to suffer for that, and like, fucking lead by example and shit, sometimes 18-hour days and shit. But that's impressive with like residential repaints because it's not linear, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Most people don't do a specific start date. Like a lot of companies will do a floating start date, around this time. We do exact start dates. I've done it forever that way. And I use a scheduling system. It's called When I Work. It's an app that we use online. But I'm able to stick to my dates. And every now and then, like, if my guys drag their feet on a project that should get done on time pretty easily, I'll get pretty pissed off about it,
Yeah.
But it's almost never anything where I can't think it out, like think through what are all my options.
Yeah.
We don't really get stuck ever. Every now and then we get stuck, but I can still figure out how to spread manpower out.
Everything we've done for the last like 8 months has been, I've gotten off track in terms of projecting scheduling because we've had like 3 extremely complicated projects that I just couldn't put a fucking time frame on. And
But you're doing a lot of add-ons, time and material stuff, right?
yeah, with a couple projects it was pretty much T&M. Well, one was contractual, one was T&M, and then I eventually capped the man hours on the second one. But there's just no way, you can have an idea, but like one of them was like, fucking dude, like we're dying, we might actually die on this one, but But it totally fucked up my whole summer schedule, dude.
Yeah.
And I've been a wreck for like fucking maybe maybe about 8 months. I just haven't even known where the fuck I'm gonna be, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I went to do I don't normally do that many client meetings anymore, but I have this guy. His name is Dan Lee, and he's got to be close to 100 years old. Older Asian guys, owns like pharmacies around town. Lives in a nice neighborhood, and we're painting his exterior. We had originally scheduled him for like a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. Maybe it was like April last year. We went out to his house when it was scheduled originally, power washed it. And then he calls me and says his wife's not comfortable with us there. Can we schedule a different time? Because of COVID and everything.
Yeah.
And so we scheduled a different time. And he's been calling me like every 2 or 3 weeks for the last year and a half to ask about our dates, make sure we're still good. A handful of times asked me to scoot the date back, like just fucking every 2 or 3 weeks he calls. And
Oh, to
so I
change
went
the dates?
change the dates or to say, I just want to make sure, am I on your schedule? What are the dates? I'm like, fuck, it's the same date we set last time. And so I went out yesterday. I want him to send over his colors through email. And he's like, oh, can you just come out and that way we can talk about it in person? And he wanted to meet at like 6:30, which is like, I don't know. I don't ever meet anybody that late, but I was like, yeah, all right, I'll come out. We'll take a look at him. I think he just wants some FaceTime. And so I went over there and, he gave me a fist bump when I saw him. And he's like, he touched my little goatee here. He touched it. He goes, oh, I like that. You're turning white, like just weird.
Yeah.
And, and so we're like talking about colors going around the house. And he's got like a heavy Asian accent, but he's like, so I was like walking ahead of him and he goes, oh, John, you got fat. I was like, what the fuck, asshole? From the last time I saw him, I guess I was skinnier. But man, it's hilarious. But this guy he's like my buddy. He's been calling me every fucking 2 or 3 weeks for like a year and a half. Crazy.
Dude, I got a phone call before I went on this fucking float trip, and a dude to schedule, he wanted to schedule an estimate. And I was like, well, I'm not going to be able to do it until next Tuesday. It's the soonest date I can come look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounded fishy, sounded like a younger guy. My fucking feelers were up right off the bat, red flags popping up. And then he's like, I told him, well, I can come look at it Tuesday. And I said, how's 3 o'clock sound? And he's like, well, I don't have to be there for you to look at it, right? And then that sent off more red flags.
Yeah.
I'm like, I would prefer for you to be there. So
Mm-hmm.
he's like, okay, well, I work 7 to 3:30, so I can be there at 4. And then that's another red flag. Like, what fucking dude, works 7 to 3:30 that can afford a fucking paint job? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyway, I ended up, I didn't send any videos or anything, no information like I normally would. And then I shoot a text to the phone number he gave me, and it was, let's see, what did he say? Oh, he said, oh, I already found a painter, thanks, or some shit like that.
Yeah.
So I looked up the dude's name on Facebook, and I found 2 Facebook accounts, same person. It's like some young fucking kid,
Yeah.
and like a town, 30 minutes from us, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
But I had like another fishy phone call, like a builder, sounded like a builder type guy,
Yeah.
and same type fucking thing. Like it seems like he was fishing around for pricing, and I wasn't dropping pricing over the phone. And I just kept telling him, well, it just depends on what you expect. Do
Yeah.
you want, what kind of products do you want?
Mm-hmm.
What is the project going to be like? Yada yada yada. And it eventually got to the point where he just hung up the phone.
Yeah.
And when I call it back, no answer. So the phone number that he gave me, I call it, and it's some random fucking person in another state. And I'm like, oh, these motherfuckers, dude. So somebody's out there trying to. I think it's somebody locally that's trying to solicit pricing information from me. But
Yeah.
and dude, in all honesty, if somebody just walked up to me in the paint store and had the balls to ask, I would fucking tell them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't like all that sneaky shit because, dude, if I'm like twice as high as somebody else that doesn't put in fucking any effort to make something right,
Yep.
you're not going to be able to get my prices in the first fucking place, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Those are things like I don't mind sharing my prices with anyone either. Yeah, and we have like fixed pricing for most things: linear footage, square footage, piece prices. For doors, things like that. Um,
I've got
but
like
yeah,
$7,000 just in dustless sanding equipment, dude. What do
yeah,
you think you're gonna go in there with a fucking 80 cent fucking sanding pad and fucking get as much money as I do, or
yeah,
do as good as a job as we're gonna do, or
yeah.
are you gonna use it to underbid me? Like what? Like
Right.
what are these people fucking thinking? Like
Yeah, those are the things where, like all over the Facebook groups, it's like a running joke, right? Like questions about, hey, how much would you charge for this? How do I price this? Blah blah blah. Um, and there are plenty of comments in there that are like, uh, you know, it doesn't matter what I would charge. We're in different states. We're in different whatever. Anybody could have my same exact pricing here. Like it would be better for me if everybody had my pricing here. So I wasn't the high guy because
yeah,
I don't
so
fucking take all the jobs.
yeah, they,
Like if we're the only reason people think twice about hiring me is because they got my price for 10 grand and someone else's for 7. And they're like, oh, fuck, $3,000 is a big enough difference to think twice. If they got my price for 10 grand and someone else's for 9,900, I'm getting that fucking job, you know?
yeah, yeah. Like what would these people fucking do if they realized? Like these people that are fucking half my price, if they realize they could get another two whole fucking dollars a square foot or something,
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like they'd
Yep.
fucking, I don't know, maybe they go buy a 8 ball of dope or something, but fucking,
But
poof.
they probably aren't getting prices or getting jobs at those prices though. You know what I mean? They're probably going to see that you charge $2 a square foot extra and be like, "How the fuck does he do that?"
Yeah.
You know? I get trouble for my fucking $1.85 a square foot price and he's charging $3.85, you
Well,
know?
the thing is like, I have technically, and I've been not serious at all about talking to any fucking builders.
Mhm.
I just watched like 12-minute video about Sam talking about builder stuff or whatever. It doesn't seem
Mhm.
like he does much new construction as well, but
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't know, dude. Like I I I can't take it fucking serious anymore, dude.
Yeah.
And even if it's what they're gonna beat me up on price, and I'm gonna make some compromises just to get my foot in the door and show them what we
Yeah.
can do, and then we'll do a couple houses or whatever, or do a big commercial project, and it's all just a game. They honestly don't give a fuck. They want that cheaper pricing model.
Yeah.
They don't give one fuck what it looks like or if it lasts or anything. They want to beat you down on price so they can fucking make more money than you do for fucking not lifting a finger. You know what
Yeah,
I
for
mean?
what you're doing. They want
Yeah,
to make more money on paint than you make on
fuck
paint.
all these builders, dude. If there's a builder listening to this right now, fuck you. You need to
I agree
call
with
me.
that. Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
I have
sick of it.
yeah, I agree 100%.
And they'll beat you down on price. You go in, it's not that you go in from the beginning and make fucking demands, but you have to be organized. It'd be
Yeah.
nice if we could go sit down in a subcontractor meeting or a fucking architect meeting and everybody organize and have, so they can see, our process or what we're going to fucking be dealing with.
Yeah.
But half the time you get on a job and just some asshole will show up and think he's going to start doing stuff. That's
Yeah.
what kept me using oils and lacquers for so long, is not that I wanted to. It's because when people showed up, we're going to pump up and we're going to run them the fuck off,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you think you're going to work here today?
No problem. We're spraying oil today.
Yeah, we're spraying fucking lacquer today or whatever, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, and then they send their subs in and finger fuck your walls to death or beat your fucking trim to death,
Yep.
and then after you've been walked down on prices, then they have a problem with you getting paid to fix what they want to call touch ups, but it's
Yeah.
fucking damages, dude.
Right.
Yeah,
That's the killer, right? It's like a lot of them don't run the schedule well at all. So I think for paint it sucks because you can get your foot in the door with the company even at a decent price, um, but they have all the power. They can hold all your money at the end, right? Let's say they give you a draw up front. They can hold a big chunk of your money at the end because of all the damages that you're just talking about, right? Like the fucking
yeah,
door jams are all dinged up, the walls have fingerprints all over, ceilings have fingerprints from electricians putting lights in. They can easily hold your money at the end like that and say, look, all this stuff needs to be done before I can release a payment. You walk off the job, they'll bring someone else in to finish it off, release
yeah.
your payment to them. It doesn't matter to them. Like they have
No,
options at that point.
yep.
Um,
That's why I just it fucking makes me smile when I think about all the, for the majority, I'm sure there's some decent painters in my area or whatever. I don't
yeah,
know who they are in all honesty, but um it makes me smile knowing that these builders are getting exactly what they fucking pay for.
yeah. Yeah, that's usually the case. And I've had plenty of contractors, who call me, and I have like 4 general contractors right now that I'll do work for, but they're remodel work, almost only remodel work. They're not doing new builds. Um, and I've been doing work for them for a long time. They trust me, I trust them. Um, if they called me in a pinch and said, "Hey, I got this little project. Can you come and take care of it this week?" I would figure it out and I would get it done this week. But same thing, if I said, "Hey, I'm short on payroll this week. I need to get a payment on this next draw. Can you guys take care of it this week?" They would take care of it this week. It's like works both ways. Um, so I have a handful of general contractors like that. I think 4 of them right now, and I do all their painting work. Sometimes they have their guys, their in-house guys do it, if my price is too high for them. But almost everything I do, that's one contract that does it that way. Um, but I get calls for new contractors all the time. New builders, people doing remodel work in our area,
Yeah.
and I grill the fuck out of them. Like I question them like they're in an interview, and I just let them know like I really don't like doing work for most builders. I tell them I have a handful of builders I do work for, so I can do it, and I'm open to the idea, but I don't like waiting untold amount of times for getting paid.
Yep.
I do residential work. I get paid quickly. Like why? There's no reason for me to do a project for you and wait for 30 days or 60 days to get payment. Who's making payments? How do you guys process your payments? And then scheduling. How do you guys do your scheduling? For me, my experience is I do work for a builder, and once they get drywall up and drywall's mostly ready to go, they want paint in there doing work because they want to show a client or whatever that, hey, we're almost done. Look at the walls, they're all painted. Right. And then everyone else comes through, fucks everything up, and we got to repaint everything again because we came in way too early. Like I'm not interested in doing that kind of a project.
Yeah.
But that's how a lot of them run them. They want to get paint on the walls.
I've
Looks
got
like we're almost done.
Yeah, I've got systems for like every scenario you can think of, but in terms of making yourself unfuckable, you know?
Yeah.
But still there's that, there's I'd say a good 30% of the time you're going to be dealing with something that was unexpected that
Oh
you're
yeah.
getting fucked on, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's enticing because they have like big price tags attached to them. Like here, if we're doing a full interior, it's a $30,000 or $40,000 job. And that's like nice. And I know we're gonna spend plenty of time there. For me, like in my position with my company, if I can put together a $40,000 or $50,000 project, it's comforting for me just because that accounts for like 8 projects. Like that means for that one project, I now don't have to get 8 other projects to fill that space. You know,
Yeah.
so those are nice jobs to have, and it's appealing to me. But at this point, maybe like once every 2 years, 2.5 years, I take on a new construction project and I regret it. It used to
Yeah.
be 3 times a year I would do a new construction project and regret every one of them. Now I'm down to like 2.5 years where I forget how shitty these jobs are, and I think, this one might be different. We could fill in a gap with it. It'll be fine. Then we do the project. I'm like, fuck, I should have never taken this one on.
Yeah, that was how that fucking custom was, dude. It was a
Yeah,
fucking one of the worst nightmares in like the last probably, I don't know, at least 5 years or so.
yeah. I thankfully don't have too many of those anymore. I have plenty of projects, not plenty. I have more than I'd like where I make $0 on them or actually cost me money to do the project, and it's mostly
Yeah.
with little jobs. But we'll have like a little job where it's like 2 bedrooms. And if one of my guys goes in there and makes some mistake where we have to come back on it, it's like, all right, now I make $0 on the job. Instead of making $200 or 280 or 300 or whatever, now I'm making zero. If there's 2 mistakes and we have to come back twice, now I'm paying out of pocket fucking $80 to do this person's 2 bedrooms. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like literally out of my pocket, out of my bank account. I would have been better off if like everybody just stayed home and didn't do that project, you know?
Yeah. I hate I don't do little stuff. There's
Yeah.
just no dude, there's no fucking I can't make any money on it.
It's not, so we do a $500 minimum. So I will do small projects like that. Um, because in the end, it does make sense financially, like maybe on that $500 job, I make $200, but according to the numbers over a year, I'd still make enough money off of those jobs to do them. I
Yeah.
tell people like we're not going to be nearly as competitive as someone else. We have minimums, we have workers' comp, we do everything legit. We're paying employer taxes, blah blah blah. So my price is going to be higher, but we do good work. We stand behind it. So it's kind of your choice. And I usually give them like our price is going to be $500. Realistically, you probably call around and get someone to do it for like 200, 250. You know,
Yeah.
but those people sometimes don't show up. We don't push to close those kind of jobs. Um, but I'll take them. We'll make money on them as long as we don't have 2 callbacks on them.
I went and did a garage door in my neighborhood for my old lady's friend, and they,
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of for swap for because they're getting rid of some fence, and she's gonna give me some fencing or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah, just let me know what the material costs or whatever." I just
Mm-hmm.
like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So there's some stuff to where you can't, you know, whatever. It's not even worth trying to make money on.
Yeah. Like the value of doing it for free is higher than the
Yeah,
value of getting $100.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
painted a bathroom for my landlord, and like that was stupid because it's like she had such a boner for fucking just trying to get it done cheap,
Yeah.
and she uses all like as cheap as she can get painters like in her
Yeah.
rental stuff. And I just she kept calling me for like or texting me for multiple weeks asking for a bill.
Yeah.
And I just kept telling her, just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck am,
Yeah.
no, I'm going to pay you and yada, yada. And it's like, fucking, if I ran a footage price on this bathroom, it wouldn't even cover my cost to fucking paint,
Yeah. Yeah. I've
The fuck
got,
am I going to?
speaking of landlords, the house in Huntington Beach we rent, and then we have the house in Big Bear. We just had to renew our lease agreement, and he did not increase the rent, which I was very surprised by. Very, very surprised by. I mean, he's like an older, really wealthy guy,
Yeah.
and he also owns a home in the same neighborhood that where he lives. So we're in the same neighborhood together.
Yeah.
Um, but I was really surprised that he didn't raise it. Everybody's raising it everywhere.
Dude,
It's pretty
I want to
surprising.
get into a house so fucking bad, but dude, there was a couple years ago there was a house. It was, the house needed some work. It had like a garage with like a loft on top of it, and
Hmm.
I don't it was like a 2-story house, but it was, if I look back now and I think, I'm like, fuck, dude, that was actually a really good price. It was like 170 something thousand or whatever the fuck
Yeah.
it was, and now it's probably
Crazy.
like 300 plus or whatever it
Yeah.
would be.
Yeah.
But yeah, the couple years ago, but it had a fucking brand new metal fucking shop, dude, with like
Oh yeah.
it looked like maybe an HVAC company that worked out of it or something, but
Uh
like
huh.
it was a big shop. Like, I'm probably 4,000 square foot, fucking
Damn.
three bay doors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was like that would have been such a badass spot for me to get, and then just have my shop space. I could have
Yep.
started thinking,
Yeah.
like, fuck, I do need some shop space. Um, as little
It's
as we
nice
do,
to have.
yeah, as little as we do cabinets, like, I could retire on fucking cabinets.
Yeah.
It's such like low. I don't know how to put it. It's not
Well,
aggressive
it's low
work.
cost and low energy
Yeah,
and
low
lots of
energy.
money.
Like, I don't have to climb up fucking buildings
Yeah.
and shit to do it, and
I was
it's
talking to my
so
estimator. I don't
so
know if I talked to you
easy.
about this. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Um,
my area has, what sucks is, 20 plus years ago, like, painters finished cabinets in the field. That's how it was.
yeah.
Even if it was a spec home, dude, you got
Hmm.
the fucking, after you primed walls, you got a trim package, you got your cabinets, you lacquered your cabinets, painted your
Yep.
trim package, did your
Hmm.
walls, whatever. And then something changed to where these carpenters thought, hey, we want to fucking be cabinet painters. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yep.
And everything is switched over to, like, hey, this is a custom cabinet and blah blah
Yeah.
blah. And all these cabinets that come out of these shops, dude, the finishes are, some
Yep.
of them are all right and shit, but they're nothing fucking special. you
Yeah.
know I put a better finish on a fucking trim package than
Yeah.
what I see a lot of these custom cabinet shops shipping out. So, I have a background in doing cabinets in the field. Now, I have some learning to do in terms of refinishing, but um it's not fucking rocket
Yeah.
science. I know how
No.
to do it, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
know it's just been me, like, with the approach of, like, hey, do I want to be into shellacs? Do I want to be trying the new 2Ks? Like, why are
Right.
people putting emerald urethane on cabinets? Is that viable? Why are people putting fucking Scuff X on cabinets? Is that viable? And, like, there's so much crazy shit out there in terms
Yeah.
of looking at the refinishing industry that, like, I'm just like, ah, fuck it, I'll look
Yeah.
at it later on. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because
Yep.
whatever I do, I want it to be top notch. So that fucking, $6,000 or $7,000 I've spent on the Centurion to fucking experiment on that interior, like, that's, it's got the wheels spinning and got me
Yeah.
thinking about, well, maybe, if I do get a house and I get some shop space, or if I build a fucking shop, like, maybe we'll try and find a cabinet shop to do some finishing for, or something, or start more aggressively marketing towards cabinets. Or
Yeah.
do I want to go to an expo to learn the fucking Varimetal and start playing with shit like that? And yeah,
Yep.
like I want to start doing some easier shit, make
Yeah.
other people climb up these fucking buildings and stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot easier ways to make money. I had a meeting with my salesperson Thursday or Friday last week. Must have been Friday. Um we have this guy who we did kitchen cabinets for him on his house. He was like manager at a car dealership. Car dealership went out of business. He's now selling countertops or managing selling countertop. I don't know, something like that. Big companies working at. And he's been giving us a ton of referrals, and he's wanting us to do work in LA. Has a lot of clients in LA. And I've been telling my estimator like that's LA is like the last place I want to go. It's such a pain in the ass getting there, getting back. But there's a shit ton of money out there. Um, so Friday we're talking about it, and I never thought to do cabinets only out there, but I think that's what we're gonna do is a cabinet only
You need to get a
company.
helicopter.
Yeah, no shit. That's I think with the second location out there, I'm getting a helicopter. Nah, I'm afraid of those things, dude. I don't want to die. I don't want to
Yeah.
die young. I don't want to die youngish. I don't want to die middle aged. Um, but I think we'll document maybe that process because we are going to do a location there. It's going to be either December or January. We start it. Um, and then we're going to set some budget. It'll probably be $1,000 a month or right around there that we're going to spend on marketing. And then I think we'll just document the speed of growth that happens.
Now, we technically were supposed to, in this episode, supposed to be getting into the fucking, what was the last one? We were going to talk about,
Either marketing or finance.
yeah, a little bit of both and work through those. But
Yeah.
how long until you open that cabinet shop? Because that would be a good example to just kind of walk everyone through the
Oh yeah.
process of spending money on marketing
Yeah.
without
Where I'm going to
us
spend it, why I'm going to
sitting
spend it in
here,
those places. Yeah.
shooting in the fucking dark trying to
Yeah.
talk about it. Because in all honesty, the business stuff makes me want to punch a baby.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Yeah, I'm just making some notes now. Um, but yeah, and I told him, I was like, look, I don't want to fucking drive to LA like ever, So if you're up for making that commute for sales and starting projects if you need to and dealing with clients if we need to, then I'm all for it. Let's do it. Um, so he says right now that he's into it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But so for something like that, we had run some quick numbers, and if we want to keep one crew busy there, um, we need to sell 4 projects a month, basically. Um, if we have like a 30 to 40% closing ratio, we need 10 bids per month. So if we get 10 bids per month, we'll keep one crew busy full time. Um, and so I just need to generate probably like 15 to 20 leads in order to get those 10 actual estimates. And then from those 10 estimates, we get 4 jobs. Those essentially are what the numbers are. Um, Now, I also want to charge more money out there. I think we're going to do like a 30 or 40% markup. So instead of 4 or 5 grand for an average kitchen, it's going to be more like 7 or 8. Um, and then we're going to do like Vero metal sample. Like we're going to sell it like we're a cabinet refinish only shop.
Yeah.
This is all we do is cabinet refinishing. We do from, premium grade all the way up to high end custom metal finishes, whatever. But I think we'll build like a nice sample set, to use as a sales tool out on estimates. Everything else we do is like pretty high end as far as our follow ups, our confirmation emails for appointments and all that shit. Um, but yeah, right now we've got to pick a location to have some kind of an office there. That way we can do a free Yelp page. We can do a free Google My Business page. Um, all
With
that
the
stuff there.
office space, is it gonna also be where you're gonna like paint the cabinet doors and
No,
shit like that?
for now, that's going to be done at our shop here.
Okay.
So my guys are initially going to go there from Orange County. So I'm going to have to pay them more. I'm going to have to
Yeah.
get up earlier in the morning. So, but they'll be in LA, like a Monday, Tuesday, and then the shop Wednesday, Thursday, and then take the
What is
doors back to LA
beating
Friday.
rush hour in LA now? Like if you were on the job at fucking 6 a.m., left the
Oh
house at
yeah, you
5,
definitely miss it. Yeah, you would
because
miss
what
traffic.
is it, like 20 minutes to get to LA from Orange County, no traffic?
No, it's probably like depending on which part of LA, like Long Beach is technically LA County and that's 20
Yeah.
minutes. But
Yeah, because you can just shoot straight up PCH, go
yeah, you
through
could do
Huntington,
PCH, you
go
could do
through
405.
Surfside, Seal Beach, and then you're in Long Beach, right?
Exactly. Yeah. But I'm talking about LA like Beverly Hills,
Yeah.
Hollywood, Encino, Calabasas, like that area. And I think that's like an hour and 15 minutes with no traffic. And
Really?
like 2.5 hours with traffic.
Yeah.
So big difference.
Just to go to like downtown?
Yeah. So like to go to LAX from here is probably well, we bought our boat from a guy in Marina Del Rey, and that's kind of like in the middle, just a little bit past LAX. Um, and I want to say that was like an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half, maybe.
Yeah.
No, yeah, probably something like that. Hour and 15, hour and 30, somewhere in that range. Um, and that's with like light traffic,
Yeah.
definitely not rush hour. So I'm anticipating like between an hour and a half, as long as we're not sitting in traffic. Um,
Yeah.
so I'll pay the guys more. So initially, it's going to be my crews from here traveling there, doing work, bringing doors and drawers back to the shop, finishing those here. So like Wednesday and Thursday is just go to the shop, work, go home, and then Friday taking the doors back up there to install. Um, so to keep one crew busy, and this is what like I'm working through the numbers with my estimator, and if let's say we're doing 6,000 per week on a kitchen cabinet set times 4 per month is 24 grand. 6% is what his commission is. That's $1,440 extra for him a month. I'm like, it's not that much extra money for you. Like, are you sure you're going to want to go back and forth to LA? Like you're not getting rich with that. Eventually, build up more jobs out there, and sure, it'll be more money. But in the beginning, it's not going to be like it might be an extra $1,200 a month. Is probably what I would count on. And but he wants to do it, so I'm up for it. But so that's with one crew, right? If we had two crews, now it's almost an extra $3,000 a month for him. Three crews, it's 4,500 a month. You know what I mean? So it builds up.
Yeah.
But he'd have to get someone to work under him, train another salesperson, all that stuff.
I just had a flashback of taking a bus from fucking Beach and Warner to Bolsa Chica when I
Yeah.
was a kid, and the city bus would let you. I think it was a board on. You could take a surfboard on the bus if it was under 6.0, right?
I don't know.
Or is it under 5.9?
I don't
Anyway,
know.
I always kept it like an inch under the limit,
Yeah.
and I was walking through the center aisle with my board under my arm, and
Mm-hmm.
I rammed the nose of my board right into the back of some chick's head.
Oh shit.
It was bad too. Like
Dude, that'd have hurt.
I didn't have a nose guard on it or anything, and
Oh
she
yeah.
ducked and fucking grabbed her head and shit. But yeah, while you were talking about that, I had that flashback.
Yeah, so we're gonna do that. I gotta figure out how much an office is gonna cost me. Um, we did an office there because you have to get mail from Yelp and from Google. You have to confirm you have a physical location there, and then you can do your free pages and just start marketing from that area.
So
So
do you open up like a second number? I've thought about that too. Like, hey, if I move my business somewhere out of this fucking devalued shithole that I live in,
yeah,
uh, would I need to get another phone number and open up like a Google account in that location? Like a,
Yeah, if you
an,
want to keep your existing location, like if you
yeah.
want to keep this one running and add a new one. So for us, we have two locations technically, right? I have Huntington Beach and San Clemente, and we have two different phone numbers for those. So Huntington Beach has its own Yelp listing, its own Google My Business listing, and then San Clemente has its own Yelp page, its own Google My Business listing. So it's acts as two different companies, but they get to piggyback off of the reputation of the first one. So it's like if you do a search for my company, and you're in San Clemente, you'll see that landing page, but you also see, you know, 3 pages worth of all the different listings my company's under.
So could I use my same phone number and listing in another city?
You would probably have to change your page. So you wouldn't be able to
Oh,
keep both pages. You would have to change it to a different address and a different. Well, you could use the same phone number technically, but you'd have to change the address.
huh.
So for mine, I'm doing location. So even in LA, I'm gonna have an LA area code on that phone. It'll have its own address, its own.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the same company name, but
That'd probably be the best too. But what do you think like if I were to do that? And I don't mean to seem unappreciative of my local market, but um, I've been able to build something in the last 3 to 4 years and be, fairly successful with it, and fucking somehow accumulate like 50, $60,000 in equipment and
yeah,
blah blah blah. But I can't help but fucking notice how difficult that struggle would have been if I would have just been the guy trying to do fucking new construction,
yeah,
It's either
yeah.
like
So what's
take on 20, 30 guys and risk your whole fucking life, you know,
yeah,
and risk losing everything. Be the guy that's doing fucking spec homes for $2 a square foot and everybody's beating your work to death and you're fucking probably averaging $10 an hour,
yeah,
or fucking try and build a niche market within the repaints and extract value from that, which I've been fairly successful with doing it. But I don't know, man. I feel like we would fit somewhere else a lot better than
yeah,
here.
yeah. Well, I think you do higher end work, and with your kind of company, you want people that would pay more for quality.
Yeah, and I just
Um,
feel like, people can just pay for the cheaper shit here, and we'll go somewhere else where people
right.
like quality and they like things that last and blah blah
Yeah.
blah, and I don't have to fight for it.
But that seems to be the kind of clients you're attracting right now anyway, right? The
Exactly.
kind of people you're doing work for are the people who will pay more for quality. They want a
Yes,
better product.
but I'm
Yeah.
having to do that with like regular middle class people, dude. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It'd be a lot easier, if I was doing it with like wealthy people.
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a starter
Wait,
home's $1 million here.
and I do know that, sometimes people that have a shit ton of money are also the ones that are the first to fucking not find value in anything and want to pay for
Yeah.
cheap bullshit. But I don't know. I've never
Not on average though.
I've never tried to build anything out of this market, and I'm curious what I could. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to put myself in something like foreign and uncomfortable and see what I can make of it.
Yeah. I would imagine staying along the coast, on the coast in resort towns, even resort towns though. I don't know how high the property values go, but coastal homes seem to be more
We
expensive on average.
we were looking at South Carolina a little
Mm,
bit. I don't know, like if there's any like areas I could network and market there.
yeah. Yeah. I would imagine the median income there is higher than where you are,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
also found some houses that seem to be reasonably priced that I could
Mm,
potentially try and get into myself. But
yeah. Yeah. And early on, like maybe 2 or 3 years in, when I first started my company, when I first started working for myself full time, I had moved. I changed locations. So I was living like in the Riverside area and I moved to Huntington Beach like 3 years after starting my company. And so basically I had to start everything over, you know,
Yeah.
but at that time it was still like yellow pages shit. Right. So I had like phone book ads.
Yeah.
Um,
Is your shop
so,
in fucking in the Oakview barrio?
and what?
In the fucking Oakview fucking neighborhood
No, where's that at?
at Beach and Warner, South
Oh,
Side?
the Slater slums.
Yeah, the Slater slums.
No, it's not. So my old shop, now this shop is in Westminster. So different slums over here.
Oh yeah.
Um,
The fucking Asian boys over there.
yeah, but the one we just moved from, that was it was close to Slater slums, but it was on the other side of the neighborhood, on the other side of Beach. So we were at Warner and Newland at the other shop. So that's on the south side of Beach Boulevard. If you cross over, then you get to Slater slums.
Yeah. Do you ever hear
Yeah.
rumors about that neighborhood from the 90s or anything?
No,
I hear they've cleaned it up a bunch.
I don't know. It's kind of a shithole still. I mean,
Oh,
it's all
it's,
just like, 10 families per unit, that kind of thing.
yeah.
The buildings look ugly on the outside.
Yeah.
Cars in the fucking front yards, shit
Yeah.
like that.
What, dude, when I was a kid, there'd be gunfire every night.
No, I
Fucking,
don't think it's like that anymore.
yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. Um, yeah, we were going to touch on the pricing thing. I think we already kind of went through that, but um, yeah, someone trying to figure out your prices. It's such a a personal thing almost.
Yeah.
Like you find prices where you make money, and I think you could get someone's prices and use them like as a starting point. But the better route is knowing what your costs are, and then build a price around that. Like how much is it going to cost you to do a 2,000 square foot house? On the exterior, it's going to take you 1 week, you and one other guy, and you're going to pay that guy $1,000. And you're going to buy $500 of paint. Well, it's going to cost you $1,500 to do that job. Do you have any bills that the business pays? Maybe that's $400 a week. So now you need to make $1,900 that week off of that job, plus pay yourself an income, plus have some money to replace yourself as a painter. One thing a lot of people do before they start having a bunch of employees is, and I see this a lot, like on Facebook groups, is they don't count themselves as an employee.
Yeah.
So if a job, is a $5,000 job and there's $2,000 left after paying your labor out, paying your paint out, $2,000 left, they just count that as, I made $2,000 on the job this week, which technically is true, right? When you're a one man shop. But the way that you should be figuring that out is if I had to replace myself, what would it cost for this job? Maybe I pay $1,000 to hire somebody that would do what I'm doing. So that 1,000 goes out. Now I'm only making $1,000 in this job. Like the company's making 1,000,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
trying to figure that shit out.
Yeah. That's for me. That's why I calculate, versus doing a footage rate. I calculate for exteriors. I do it on a hourly projection.
Yeah.
And then the way that I ensure that I don't lose money on it is I'm there fucking in the field working every chance, every second that I can be there, and unless, if I'm estimating a job or something. But yeah, like I am there leading by example and pushing everything forward. Maybe one day I won't have to fucking be, but I don't know, dude. Like that's not how you build a name for yourself. Is like,
No.
hey, I'm gonna bid this, and then I'm gonna hire all these guys. I'm gonna hire 4 guys, and then I'm gonna go sit at the house and fucking, I don't know what people do, watch DuckTales and drink fucking fruit beer or whatever the fuck it is.
Well,
But
I've been taking my daughter to softball camp all week.
yeah,
No DuckTales for me.
yeah, but yeah, dude, you gotta be there, and when you're there, that's money that you're not paying out in fucking labor. And then eventually I'll sit down and I'll figure it all out. But I'm doing something right, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the position I come from is I built a reputation before I started adding on a bunch of employees.
Yeah.
And so now at this point, if we fuck some stuff up, which happens from time to time, I have a reputation that I can fall back on,
Yeah.
and I believe in it and I do take care of people, but I can say, look, we're not the kind of company that's just going to stop answering the phone. If there's a problem, I had a guy call me yesterday. What did he say? Oh, he called, I asked him how to hear about us. And he said, oh, I got referred. A friend or a neighbor of mine or a friend of mine had some work done for me, guys. Something went wrong. You guys fixed it right away. And I highly referred you. I'm like, or highly recommended you. I was like, all right, cool. Like those are good referrals to me. Like if something went wrong, you fixed it right away. Because I tell people, like, look, we're human beings, like if I'm being honest, maybe some of my employees might have a class or two of college experience, education. Besides that, like we're not like highly educated employees out here doing work. We're like misfits, of some sort out here doing work. And we're stringing together a good schedule and we're reliable and we're disciplined and we're making it work. Sometimes shit goes wrong, like like any company. I bet you, Miss Client, stuff goes wrong at your company sometimes, right? And you're all highly educated, college graduates, and shit still goes wrong. It's like, but we're very reliable and I have a reputation to maintain. If you check out my reviews, they go back 10 years at this point, online reviews, and we've got them everywhere, so.
Dude, one of my current projects, I don't ask for money on like a repaint. If it's like a 1 to 2 week job, I can usually float it.
Yeah.
Um, if I'm coming off of like some gnarly shit to where I've been having a hard time for like a couple months, I might, what we do is like, I'll work for a week and then put in a draw, just
Yeah.
kind of show
Yeah.
people that we're
Same for
not
us.
we're not
Yeah.
just gonna, like get a draw and then be the fucking company that doesn't show back up or something.
Yeah.
But
Keep asking for money and yeah.
yeah, I've but anyway, this lady like was out of town. She wanted me to estimate her house. I gave her a price, yada yada. She has also been waiting for several fucking months, and she gave me like a $6,000 or $7,000 fucking deposit.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been sitting on that for several months, but that's very fucking very rare. Like,
Yeah.
she said, do I want half down? And I'm like, well, I kind of don't want to do that just so I don't spend it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she's like, well, I'll give you a deposit. I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah.
But I put it in my fucking savings, because
Yeah.
whatever. But
Yep. Yeah, that's we do the same thing. It's like if I need to get some cash in, what do we have on the schedule the next few weeks? Let's collect some deposits,
yeah,
Most of the time, like for the last, I don't know, 5 years or so, we haven't collected deposits as like a norm. We don't collect deposits. But on larger jobs, I'll do a payment schedule and that'll always come with a deposit payment. And
yeah,
especially commercial projects, I want to know how these guys are going to treat payment schedules ASAP. I want to know if they're like dragging their feet, if it takes fucking forever to get a deposit. I might cancel the job or I might find a way out, or I might,
yeah.
like for this job now, it's like, all right, well, I'm going to let them know well in advance when I want a payment, and start getting that ball rolling quickly.
Dude,
Um,
I have like one job we're doing that's kind of got like a middleman, but they're technically like the general contractor on it.
mhm,
And I asked him from the start, he wanted me to put in as little draws as possible so he didn't have to deal with it.
mhm.
Like, okay, so I drew, I think I drew fucking 50% on it or something,
Yeah.
or I drew quite a bit in the 20 something thousand plus range or whatever. But um And then when I turn in the second bill, they're like, whoa, is this gonna be, all of it? I was like, well, no, it was an hourly projection, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I was, we're very close, but, you know, this is the
Yeah.
best that I could do kind of shit. But the homeowners are happy, and I think the general contractor's happy, but it's weird, dude. Another fucking job where I'm dealing with an acting fucking GC. Like, yes, we have been in there for a long time fucking doing our deal, but that was what I said from the start. This is going
Yeah.
to fucking take a long time with what you guys want to do, yada, yada. I can't, I can give you ballpark, but it's going to
Yeah.
take a lot. So, don't hold your breath kind of shit. But like we pull off and it's like the flooring guys are supposed to be there and it's been like a fucking month, dude.
Yeah.
The flooring guys are supposed to have been done, like the electricians aren't done, fucking all this shit's like what the fuck, dude? Like
Yeah.
it's taken them a month to devise the place and fucking put
Do you
floors
have
in.
money
Like
tied up in it?
no, I drew out pretty much completion. There's I have to, when I go back, I have to prime and paint a garage, so like ceilings and walls, and then prime and paint like a downstairs room, ceilings and walls, and then spray out some quarter round and some base, and
Yeah.
and paint like 2 exterior doors. So like if I went there by myself, I could tinker around for a few days and get it done.
Yeah.
But there is going to be some extras, I think. I just can't remember what the fuck they were. But anyway, another acting GC waiting on fucking subs. Hopefully when I get there it's not fucking
Trashed.
destroyed, but that's all
Yeah.
Centaurian, so I don't think their
Yeah.
fingerprints are going to be doing shit. I'll just tell them, "Okay, well, congratulations. Now you guys need to clean all the walls." But
Yeah.
they told me, like I told them, like, how fast is the turnaround going to be, like when I put in a bill, yada yada, because I think I've billed 3 times, and they said, oh, they're super quick. You turn in a bill and I can have you a check in a week.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. So that's how I planned everything around this. That didn't happen. It was like 3 weeks for the first one, and then the second one, I was actually kind of pissed me off. I told him, I was like, hey, like, this first one was multiple weeks longer than what you said. I need this one to be speedy,
Yeah.
So I'm billing in advance and letting you know. And he's like, oh yeah, like the motherfucker ended up and I don't want to say motherfucker, they're all good people. The dude ended up I think waiting for other people to bill after taking my bill, and did it all at once. It was like
Yeah.
4 or 5 weeks before I got a check,
Oh,
dude.
man. Yeah.
That's
That's the kind of stuff. That's where, like, with contractors, they'll do stuff like that. And it's like, I mean, just be upfront with me about it.
yeah.
Like,
Well, I thought I was.
I've had so many projects. Well, no, for them to be upfront.
Yeah.
I've had so many projects like that where I'm like, every week, or not every week, every day, check in the mail. Like, I hope that $15,000 check's in the mail. Not there. Check the
Yeah.
next day. Not there. Like, fuck, dude. I don't want to seem needy, but I'm gonna have to give this guy a call. It's like, oh, well, I haven't even submitted it yet. Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah. Oh, I've been on the phone before with a commercial general contractor. I'm like, dude, I gotta get paid, and I could hear his fucking wife in the background because she works in the office. He's not getting fucking paid right now. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you motherfuckers, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck you people.
I don't understand. I mean, that is like the easiest way to keep a subcontractor happy is to like keep the money flowing, make the money easily accessible. Like I have guys that do painting for me.
They get loans and shit, and then like put all the money into like high interest bearing accounts.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the longer they sit on it, the more interest they draw,
Right.
and the longer they make their subs wait, the more money they're making off of fucking money that they haven't paid out yet.
Yeah. I'm sure there are plenty that do that. Yeah. All right. Man, we got a lot of shit to do episodes on. We're gonna have to spend some time off air and fucking hammer some of this stuff out. It's been tough to do these in the summertime because there's so much shit going on. Our weekends are getting tied up.
Yep.
Too much fun shit out there to do, I guess.
I mostly work and then get bitched at by my old lady about not doing stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm either working or I'm trying to do stuff with the family.
Yeah.
And it is hard to piece these in. Like, and dude, even working, like getting up at 4 a.m. and fucking getting the guys picked up and being on the job at 6 a.m. and then being like, well, dude, we're doing all this so we can leave at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
So then you get home at like 2:30, 3 o'clock, and you're like, fuck, it is so nice that I am here at 3 o'clock and I'm just going to relax. And then, oh no, we got to fucking record Paint fucking Sniffers.
Yeah. I do nap every day. Yeah, it's been tough in the summertime.
Yeah.
But figure it out.
But
yeah, we've got a handful of episodes for people listening. We are doing that giveaway still, so this will be the first episode where we drop a little hint, right? On the YouTube show.
Which I have dropped it, because I'm going to have to edit this shit. It has been dropped somewhere previous to us mentioning this, so.
Yeah. So go back and find it if you didn't already hear
if
it.
you're being a dick and you're not actually listening to this
if
stuff.
you just fast forward it.
And you're just looking around for the stuff. Fuck you. I'm going to make every episode from here to 26 miserable for you to find it.
Okay. We're going to do Instagram post about the rules and all that shit. So that'll come soon. But this will be the first episode, number 21, that has some kind of hint at letters in there. All right. All good?
Yep.
All right, man.
Later.
As always, please like our YouTube page. Give us 5-star only reviews on all podcast platforms. If you have questions or comments, send them over to hello@paintsniffers.com or on Instagram @paint_sniffers.
You can also watch the video version of the podcast on the Alpha Painting YouTube page. Go to playlists and it will be filed under Paint Sniffer Podcast. Via YouTube, you can write into QA@paintsniffer.com.
Thank you for listening to Paint Sniffer Podcast.